You begin by judging others, justifying your actions, and try to avoid bad emotions. You neglect yourself and have anxiety because you gave your power away. This is what happens when you do not live authentically. But what does it mean to be authentic? It is not about being chipper and happy all the time, because even doing that can send you crashing down into a downward spiral. Join me today as I'll guide you both scientifically and spiritually how to live an authentic life where you can find your purpose. Namaste, Sacred Masters. I'm Dr. Aiwas Ukehi, Shadowwork NLP Manifestation Coach, and I'm here to help you with your shadow work and manifesting questions, as well as give you tips on new ways you can practice your self-growth. So don't forget to subscribe for both your numbers on Tuesdays, pick a card shadow work on Thursdays, and shadow work manifesting tips on Sundays, so that you don't miss anything that can help you make your life better. And that begins with living authentically. Have you ever felt like life isn't meaningful? Your relationships are not genuine? You sometimes feel like you act before you think? You're afraid of leaving your comfort zone? You not only make excuses, but you define success by the opinion of others. See, the problem, as Oren Hoffman puts it best, is that you think for yourself, but act like your friends. In our psychology circle, we call this homophily, which means our behavioral traits begin with setting our sights on people we admire and want to be like, then adapting our behavior to appear more appealing to those people or act like them. Once we do that, our habits, behavior, and thoughts are shaped by those we spend time with. This is because we all want to be a part of something, a part of a tribe. But as we begin to shape our personality based on observing those around us, we begin to lose sight of who we really are. Thus, we begin to live a life of inauthenticity. I have this video on how unique you are, which you can check out on the links above or description below. In there, I already make my claim about how we are all unique and how to bring about our uniqueness. But uniqueness has to come from authenticity as well. Being authentic means having a keen awareness of who you are and what you stand for. It is when our words, actions, and behaviors consistently match our core identity. So, how do we do that? Martin Seligman, the pioneer of positive psychology, breaks it down into a trifecta in which he calls the full life. It can be seen here. There is the pleasant life, the good life, and the meaningful life. These three we must incorporate. Let's talk about the pleasant life, which is about feeling more. These are positive emotions such as pleasure. Then you must have the good life, which is togetherness, engagement in things such as contribution to relationships. And the final one, the meaningful life, which is about fulfillment and meaning, to achieve more. Through this trifecta, we can begin to discover our unique virtues and strengths, thus creating a full life, or authentic happiness as he calls it. In order to achieve such a trifecta, Martin Seligman broke it down to a model he calls PERMA, P-E-R-M-A. P is for positive emotion, E for engagement, R for relationships, M for meaning, and A for accomplishment. Let's start with positive emotions. When I say positive emotions, I do not mean to put on a happy smile all the time. In fact, doing so is what I call toxic positivity, which you can watch the video on the links above and description below. No, positive emotion is about viewing one's life in an optimistic way, past, present, and future with a constructive perspective. Too often we find ourselves saying what's good or bad. The law of relativity, one of the 12 laws of the universe, states that everything is neutral. What we deem as negative can be turned into something constructive and creative, and is there for a purpose. It can be said that this is an optimistic way of looking at life, but we must first look upon our life in that way. Going into engagement, we must engage in things that brings about calm, focus, and joy. Whether it is dancing, singing, playing an instrument, taking up a hobby, or even starting an interesting project at work, engagement helps us remain present, flooding our body with positive neurotransmitters and hormones that elevates our well-being. Have you started something like a project or hobby and you just felt time just zip by? This flow is part of engagement. This is the state of being in the present. You are not distracted by mental chatter or reacting to external situations. R is for relationships. Even if you're an introvert, relationships and social connections are crucial to leading a meaningful, authentic life. We are, after all, social animals that are hardwired to bond, depend, and relate to other humans. While we all enjoy love and intimacy, relationships are far beyond that. It extends to parents, siblings, peers, co-workers, and friends. But what's important is that the relationship is healthy. Love and intimacy can exist in toxic relationships too. So be very careful about what relationships you are building, your support group, in your search for happiness. M is for meaning. This is perhaps the one that stumps people the most. I get so many questions about our purpose, our meaning, the why are we on earth questions regularly. Most people find meaning in religion or spirituality, while others may find it in the pursuit of material wealth. Ultimately, if you want to find real meaning in your life, you must understand how your actions impact not only you, but the universe around you as well. You will know your meaning when you have a higher cause, something bigger than you, that you pursue with all your intelligence and talent. If it feels tedious and tiring, that's not your purpose. Your purpose will fill you with strength and vigor, and like the E for engagement, you will find time doesn't exist when you're pursuing your purpose. The last one, A, is for accomplishment. When you find meaning in your work, what you do to contribute to the universe, achieving those goals, whether through giving or mastery of an art, is what you need to experience a full and authentic life. This is why finding meaning is so important, because you need the strength and perseverance to achieve your goals with the passion to sustain it. Find intrinsic goals such as growth and connection, rather than external goals such as money and fame, and you will find yourself leading an authentic life. Now that you know what you need, let me give you some strategies you can use to implement the PERMA model into your life. The first is to take personal inventory. You may already have been doing this with your shadow work, and if you sat with yourself and shadow child long enough, you know what types of people, activities, or situation makes you feel most alive, as well as knowing the toxic people in your life. For those new to shadow work, this is a good time to start, where you sit down and take a personal inventory of who you are and really sit with the feelings on how they make you feel. Do they uplift you or cost you emotionally and physically? By taking personal inventory, you will know what you need to change and heal. The second step is to be present. You must be present with yourself, no matter what is going on around you. You can do meditation work, or try some of my meditation in my 7-day shadow work course on the links above in the description below. By staying aware and present with yourself, you are able to find ways to express yourself more fully and feel more in line with the real, unique, and authentic you. The third is your support system. This lines up with the first strategy, because everybody needs a social support system. This can be in communities or groups such as this, but also surround yourself with people who believe in your passion and dreams. Make sure that your relationships uplift you, not the other way around. If you have toxic people in your life, I have a video on how to deal with toxic people that you can watch here. The fourth strategy is communication. That is, speaking your truth, which includes setting boundaries. Being assertive helps, but remember that it can quickly lead to aggression, especially if you're trying to force your ideologies, passion, or even worse, politics into another's lives. Practice honest and open dialogue while being empathetic to the needs of others. Don't be a passive-aggressive communicator as well, because ultimately, honesty is the key in communication. Shadow journaling. Do a daily look into your life. Ask yourself if there is change, even by the smallest bit every day. Write down your accomplishments and practice daily gratitude towards them, no matter how small they are. If you find yourself stalling or not growing, sit with yourself and shadow child and ask what blockages are you having. But remember, your growth are small moments, the things you say, you do, that slowly add up to who you are. Begin to use shadow work to heal and then grow every day from that. Gaining perspective. Sometimes we cannot see the forest from trees. Oftentimes, if we don't take a step back to look at the big picture, we end up in a cycle of overthinking and anxiety. Don't lose sight of the bigger picture, because that's ultimately what you are striving towards. Take some time off, relax, have fun, go out with your social support system, learn to listen to your heart and let inspiration flow naturally. External and internal influence. Whenever you're working on your shadow journals, always be aware of what are internal and external influences. Internal influences are things like passion and desire that comes from within. These help you grow as a person and pursue your goals. External motivators are things like money, social status, recognition, and approval from other people that influences your decisions. While there is nothing wrong with external influence, taking a step back to discern between internal and external influence allows you to give priority to the internal influences. That's how you lead your authentic life. And when you do that, you realize that life flows in abundance to you. Money, status, and other external factors are just indicators, but not the meaning of life. Ironically, the less you care about external influences, the more they will come. From abundance to creativity, you begin to see the universe as one. Life has a purpose and meaning. Self-confidence, happiness, and other internal influences also become abundant. You then attract like-minded people, your circle around you, who also lead authentic lives. You no longer have to worry about what others think or leading your life based upon what you think others will like, but you live in the greatest mindset of all, the mindset of I am. You're working not just consciously, but living subconsciously and expressing superconsciously. If you want to know more about the superconscious, check out this video here. I talk about how to utilize your superconscious mind, which is the least used but very powerful. Let's do this journey together. I'll see you there. Namaste.